The manager of a private jet dealership kicked Keanu Reeves out when he showed up in casual attire. What happened next left the manager in utter disbelief. Private Sky Aviation, located in the heart of Texas, specializes in selling high-end private jets. This place is not just a store but a symbol of luxury and prestige in the private aviation industry. Every day, it welcomes numerous business people, politicians and celebrities, facilitating transactions worth millions of dollars. Today, the store received a new visitor. A man walked in with a calm demeanor, dressed in a simple denim jacket, faded jeans, a worn-out baseball cap, and an old pair of sneakers. It was not easy to recognize that this was Keanu Reeves. Who would expect a top-tier Hollywood star to appear in such an unassuming manner? Yet, despite his modest attire, his aura remained composed and dignified. As soon as he stepped inside, Keanu immediately caught the attention of the employees, but not in a positive way. Ryan, the store manager, stood at the reception desk and gave him a once-over, his face reflecting suspicion and displeasure. To Ryan, every customer at this dealership should exude wealth at first glance, and the man before him showed no signs of possessing the financial means to afford anything in the store. Raising an eyebrow, Ryan crossed his arms and spoke coldly, "Sorry, but this is not a place for free sightseeing. We only serve customers with prior appointments." Keanu merely smiled faintly, not refuting the remark. He simply observed his surroundings, his gaze eventually settling on a private jet parked outside the glass window. Ryan continued, his tone dripping with sarcasm, "I think you should find somewhere more suitable for your appearance. The jets here are not cheap. We are not a place for those who just come to look. What if I said I could buy one or more of them?" Keanu finally spoke up. As he did, he glanced toward the manager. The man was over 40. His high-end uniform suit made him appear dignified, exuding an air of authority. Ryan was slightly startled by Keanu's words, but that still didn't help him recognize him. Scanning Keanu from head to toe, Ryan sneered, "Are you sure you have enough money to buy one of them? No, wait. Do you even have enough to buy a single component of it?" It wasn't hard to detect the sheer mockery and contempt in Ryan's tone toward Keanu. At that moment, he had made a grave mistake. "You have no way of knowing how much money I have, yet you stand here trying to stop me from browsing the products." Keanu raised his tone slightly. His irritation was growing, but he still looked at Ryan with politeness. Ryan didn't bother paying attention to what he heard. His disdain ran so deep that he didn't even take a proper look at Keanu's face, leading him to make yet another mistake. "It's not hard for me to see your true nature. A penniless man pretending to understand the world of the wealthy here. Just look at you. Your outfit isn't even worth as much as the rags used to wipe down the planes." As he spoke, Ryan jabbed his index finger directly into Keanu's chest, a heavy insult. Ryan's increasingly offensive words drew the attention of nearby guests dressed in elegant attire. They shook their heads in disapproval at the manager's attitude, yet no one wanted to interfere. "You're judging me solely by my appearance. I can't believe an employee of Private Sky Aviation would treat a customer this terribly." Keanu smirked in disappointment. Ignoring Ryan, he continued browsing the store, deciding to disregard the manager's shouting behind him. Both guests and staff were astonished. They wondered how this man could remain so composed. Anyone else would have either walked away or escalated the matter in response to Ryan's terrible attitude, but Keanu chose to stay calm like a tranquil sea before the storm makes landfall. Keanu didn't want to argue any further. He reached out his hand, touching the solid, undoubtedly expensive metal of the jet. Smack! A sharp sound of pain echoed as Ryan forcefully slapped Keanu's hand away from the aircraft. Keanu's hand turned red from the impact, having been knocked against the wing of the jet. Ryan's emotional outburst left Keanu stunned. He clutched his hand and turned to face Ryan. "Is this how a manager treats a customer?" Keanu asked, his gaze briefly flicking to the name tag on Ryan's chest. "A manager who discriminates against customers just because he thinks they don't have money." "Of course. These jets cost millions upon millions of dollars. We don't need penniless people like you hanging in around here. If you're unemployed or homeless, go find food somewhere else. Even if you dream your entire life, you'll never be worthy of touching one of these planes." Ryan shouted, angrily pointing toward the exit to show Keanu the way out. His face was flushed red with rage. "Even if I don't buy anything, you should at least treat me with basic human decency." "That's the bare minimum," Keanu replied calmly, as if offering Ryan one last chance. Why should I serve someone who I know for sure won't bring any profit to this store? Ryan declared firmly, a statement he would soon come to regret. Keanu no longer felt the need to argue. He silently turned and walked toward the door, leaving behind a smug Ryan, who believed he had successfully driven a pathetic nobody out of the store. Keanu walked toward the door, pulling his phone out of his pocket. He nodded a few times while speaking briefly, then stood there as if waiting for something. After a moment, he removed his hat and adjusted his hair. The truth was beginning to unfold. A few employees in the store exchanged glances, some looking uneasy. A young staff member near the reception desk clenched his fists, his face hesitant. They had recognized the man, but none dared to speak. They had witnessed how Ryan treated customers, and now a disaster was about to happen. Just then, a middle-aged man in an expensive suit stepped out from an office. The moment he saw the guest, his face lit up with a broad smile. He strode toward Keanu with an air of familiarity. "Keanu, you're here. I've been waiting for you since this morning," he exclaimed, shaking Keanu's hand enthusiastically. Ryan's face turned pale upon hearing that name. The arrogance in his eyes vanished completely, replaced by utter shock. He blinked repeatedly, as if struggling to believe what was happening before him. Looking closely, he finally realized that the man he had just treated with disdain was none other than Keanu Reeves, the world-renowned Hollywood star, known not only for his acting talent, but also for his humble personality and simple way of life. I'm sorry. I didn't know," Ryan stammered, his voice trembling. For the first time in his career, he felt an overwhelming sense of shame. The store owner patted Keanu's shoulder warmly and said, "You're here to sign the contract, right? I've got all the paperwork ready. Just one signature, and this store will officially be yours." Ryan was stunned, his hands gripping the edge of the reception counter tightly as if to steady himself. He bought this store. His voice was barely more than a whisper. Keanu nodded gently. "Yes, I had already scheduled an appointment with you, but it seems that your store manager didn't want to let me in." Keanu's words were spoken softly but carried a heavy weight. A few other employees in the store held their breath, exchanging glances, none daring to speak. The store owner turned to Ryan, his face growing stern. "What happened here while I was away?" At this moment, Ryan was truly panicked. He rushed over, trying to appease his superior. No, sir. It was just a misunderstanding." He treated this man like trash. "It's terrible, but I have to say that I was very uncomfortable today hearing the sarcastic and contemptuous shouting in this store." A nearby customer interjected. As soon as the customer finished speaking, the store owner turned to Ryan, his eyes filled with shock and doubt. The store owner reacted sharply. "This is unbelievable, Ryan. You know I do not tolerate discrimination of any kind in my store. Since when did you start thinking and acting this way? Surely this isn't the first time, is it?" Ryan shook his head, desperately trying to deny the conclusions his employer was drawing. Meanwhile, Keanu remained eerily silent. He was deep in thought, neither commenting, judging, nor condemning. That was until the store owner turned to him and spoke sincerely. "Keanu, I sincerely apologize to you. I'm truly sorry." With just those few words from Keanu, Ryan knew for certain everything had completely collapsed. And indeed, it had. The store owner could not allow one individual to drive away his most valuable customers. He turned to Ryan and spoke with unwavering determination. "A prestigious store cannot be operated by narrow-minded individuals. From this moment on, you are no longer the manager here." Ryan was in despair. His face turned pale, and his entire body trembled. "Please, give me a chance. I have worked here for 8 years. It was just a moment of mistake. I can fix it." A moment of mistake? How many mistakes will it take for you to finally realize? "I do not want the store's reputation to be affected, Ryan. After working here for 8 years, you of all people should understand that the most." The store owner brushed Ryan's hands off his body. No, I beg you." Ryan shook his head and then collapsed onto his knees. He turned to Keanu, who had been silently listening all this time. "Sir Keanu, I was truly foolish. I apologize to you 1,000 times. But please, give me a chance to start over. I swear I will change. Even if I have to start from the lowest position to prove myself, I will accept it willingly." Keanu remained silent for a moment before speaking in a calm yet firm voice. Are you certain about what you just said? Even if it is the smallest job? Yes, sir, Ryan affirmed with conviction. Very well. Everyone makes mistakes, and it is a blessing to have the chance to correct them. You may still work here. But as you said, you will have to start again from the lowest position. If you can prove that you have truly changed, you will have the opportunity to rise again. Ryan looked at Keanu, his eyes reddened with a mix of emotion and shame. A wave of feeling surged through him. He had worked here for 8 years but had never felt such overwhelming pressure. Being demoted to the lowest position meant enduring the scrutinizing gazes, the murmurs of former colleagues and tasks he had never imagined himself doing before. Ryan lowered his head, his hands clenched tightly together, his voice hoarse. I understand. I accept this condition. I will prove that I can change. Keanu nodded, his expression showing neither pity nor reproach, only a calm understanding. Good. I hope that one day you will look back on this moment and feel grateful for it. Not everyone gets a chance to make things right. What matters is whether you seize it or not. Ryan nodded firmly, accepting his fate. This was an incredibly costly lesson, but it was also the only opportunity he had to start over. He took a deep breath, bracing himself to begin again from nothing. The days that followed were anything but easy for Ryan. Once a powerful manager, he was now just an ordinary service worker. Each day he had to take on tasks he had once considered menial: cleaning floors, organizing documents, and welcoming customers with humility and sincerity. At times he had to run errands, assist colleagues, and handle jobs he had never imagined himself doing. There was a time when he regarded those who performed such tasks as beneath him, unworthy of his attention. But now he stood exactly in their position. At first, Ryan felt humiliated and frustrated. He had to work under the supervision of colleagues who had once been his subordinates. There were moments when he wanted to give up, but every time he recalled his past mistakes and the opportunity Keanu had given him, he gritted his teeth and endured. After a long period of working at the lowest level, he began to notice things he had never paid attention to before. He saw the hardships of service workers and realized that every task, no matter how small, was essential. He started listening to customers more attentively, replacing his former arrogance with genuine sincerity and concern for their real needs. He also developed a newfound respect for his job, no longer looking down on ordinary laborers. One day, while cleaning a private jet, Ryan accidentally knocked over a bucket of water, spilling it onto the floor. Unfortunately, a wealthy woman standing nearby got splashes of water on the soles of her expensive shoes. Disgusting, you old fool. Do you even know what you're doing? Ryan heard a loud shout and immediately ran over to apologize profusely to the woman. However, she didn't even see him as worthy of the sole of her designer shoes. If you're so weak and frail, then do everyone a favor and stay home. Even if you spent your whole life cleaning airplanes, you still wouldn't be worth as much as the shoes I'm wearing. Those words, dripping with contempt, felt like a slap across Ryan's face. Familiar, wasn't it? Those were the same kinds of words he had once spoken to Keanu. Now Ryan understood. The humiliation, the feeling of being belittled, it was truly awful. He bowed his head, gritted his teeth, and clenched his fists tightly, struggling to keep himself from exploding in anger. Then, something no one expected happened. Ryan bent down and used his own shirt to wipe the woman's shoes. As he cleaned them, he continuously apologized. The store employees were all stunned. Where was the arrogant, domineering Ryan they had known? It was clear that over the past few days, through the humbling nature of his new job, Ryan had learned many valuable lessons. Today, he truly grasped the weight of his past mistakes. Words carried far more power than people often realized. Keanu had been silently keeping track of Ryan's progress through reports from the staff. He didn't say much, but his presence alone had been the driving force behind Ryan's transformation. Keanu didn't frequent the store, nor did he constantly supervise or remind Ryan of his shortcomings, because he understood that real change had to come from within. Only by experiencing hardship firsthand could a person truly learn life's most valuable lessons. Gradually, the employees found themselves amazed. Despite his age, Ryan didn't shy away from any task. He had also become much more approachable and cheerful. In fact, the staff grew to genuinely appreciate him more than ever before. The tense and oppressive atmosphere that once filled the store had vanished. The employees now saw Ryan as family, and he felt the same about them. The barriers between them had slowly faded away. As a result, workplace morale soared. Customers even commented that they felt comfortable visiting the store, as they could always see the staff supporting one another with genuine joy. At this point, Keanu seemed to have reached his final evaluation. One day, Keanu called Ryan into his office. He sat behind his desk, flipping through a stack of documents before looking up at Ryan with a calm yet serious gaze. Ryan wiped his hands on his shirt, trying to stay calm as he faced Keanu. "You have done very well over the past period. I have observed your efforts and seen real change. I think it is time for you to regain your managerial position. But this time, remember this lesson forever. Treat everyone with respect, regardless of their status or appearance," Keanu said gently. Ryan let out a deep breath, as if he had just removed a heavy burden from his chest. He bowed his head, his eyes glistening with emotion, his heart overwhelmed. He could hardly believe that he was being given this opportunity. "Thank you, Keanu. Thank you for giving me a second chance. I will never forget this lesson. I have come to understand that a true leader is not only skilled at work but also needs empathy and humility. Everyone deserves respect." Keanu smiled warmly, his eyes filled with understanding. Anyone can make mistakes, but what matters is whether we have the courage to face them and correct them. I believe you will not repeat your past mistakes. More importantly, I need you to use your 8 years of experience to help me run this store. I am confident that we will see impressive numbers this year. With that, Keanu stood up and extended his hand toward Ryan for a handshake. Ryan hesitantly grasped Keanu's hand, his face breaking into a radiant smile. Ryan left the office with a renewed spirit, not only regaining his job but also realizing the true value of humility and respect. From now on, he would no longer be the arrogant and cold manager he once was but would become a reliable and fair leader. Ryan had indeed been at fault, but he was fortunate to have met Keanu, a man renowned for his compassion and kindness. This story teaches us a lesson about human relationships, humility, and second chances. Never judge a person by their appearance, for you never truly know who they are. Treat everyone with respect, and in return, you will receive better things in life. What do you think about this ending? Leave a comment below. And don't forget to follow us to see more fascinating stories ahead.